All right. Evaluating workplace outcomes. It is important to periodically assess and adapt our activities to ensure that they are effective or as effective as they can be. Evaluation can help us identify areas for improvements and ultimately help us realize our goals more efficiently. In the workplace, an evaluation is a tool employers use to review the performance of an employee or several employees. Usually, the employee's supervisor, and frequently a more senior manager, is responsible for evaluating the employee's performance. So, this is basically what we call a performance appraisal. If you think about this one, right? Why do we do this? Why do we evaluate workplace outcomes? Well, the logical reason is to do things better. But before we do things better, we need to understand what is currently happening. So think about this, right? Businesses that have been around for a while, the process that they set in place in year one may not be relevant in year five. The position descriptions in year three may not be relevant in year seven because the job might have changed. Maybe what the business does has possibly changed as well. At the end of the day, evaluation of workplace outcomes, it really comes down to continuous improvement. A business, any business, right? When it starts off as an idea, something that you want to do. The goals are super clear. It's not fuzzy, it's super clear. This is why you want to do it. This is what you want to achieve. But as the business grows and as the business develops over time, things change. Quite often for the better, sometimes for the worse, but things change. And as a business, evaluating the outcomes, what are we hoping to achieve? Why are we hoping to achieve it? What are the tools that we have in place? What is the training program that we have that'll help our employees to be relevant and current? Like all of these things need to be evaluated. And out of this evaluation process, you get lots of different things. For example, you might come up with a new training program, maybe a new induction training program. Maybe you come up with professional development activities. So that's from a human resource side. From an actual business resource perspective, if you're looking at, say, tools and machinery, you might say, well, this is probably a good time to upgrade. Or maybe you go the opposite way and you say, well, we ended up buying equipment which has a capacity far greater than what we're currently using. So we're basically undercapitalizing our equipment. So we reduce by selling off the big machinery and buying something which is maybe smaller and more efficient. From a space perspective, right? The workplace itself, maybe when we first started, it was the perfect size, like the venue was perfect. It met our goals, it met our needs. 5 years later, maybe our business has grown to such a perspective that this is no longer feasible. We need larger premises. Or maybe the opposite is true. Maybe 5 years later, more people are working from home. We don't need to be paying extra rent for 20 additional desks or to service 30 computers or whatever else it might be. So evaluating workplace outcomes becomes really, really important. And it's important to do this properly and to do this systematically. Are you going to be evaluating every 6 months? Chances are no, unless you're a rapidly growing business and you have the time and space to do it, which is in conflict with being a rapidly growing business. So it's going to be something that you might do periodically. You might say, every year, let's look into this. And when we do look into it, let's look at one part of the business, whether it's human resource, whether it's the resources and tools that we have available to us, whether it's our capital and financial stuff, like can we maybe borrow money from the bank at different interest rates, which helps us to free up potential, funds for other activities. So evaluating is a really important aspect. And we do it at the end of the day so that we become better, become more efficient, we become more competitive. Okay, so let's dig a little bit deeper into the purpose of the evaluation process. It's to highlight the strengths, correct performance weakness, and develop unused skills and abilities. In order to do this, we must be willing to recognize areas that need improvement or need development. When we talk about personal performance, we can look at appraisals. So let's say the employees that are working for us, right? Let's look at their performance in the job that they do. So here we can do work appraisals as part of our workplace outcomes. And here we might even look at the position description itself and say, has the job changed? Think about a company like Netflix. When they first started, it was a mail order business, right? People want to borrow a particular movie, DVD. They will send their request through. The DVD gets sent out to the person's home. The company then evolved from that into an online streaming business. Now, the skills that were required here may not be so relevant here anymore. So the job description changes. Netflix evolved again and went from a streaming service to a streaming service that makes their own content. Now, when you start making your own content, you need people who can use the camera, people with editing, people with story writing abilities. Once again, the job changes. So this really becomes important as your business evolves. And appraisals, or evaluating workplace outcomes, allows us to understand this. Sometimes we might see, oh, the quality and quantity of things that we're doing is no longer what it used to be, so we need to change it. And it's all about making sure that we're adaptable and we are increasing our capabilities as a business to be relevant to what A, our business requires, and B, to what our customer requires. And the market in which we compete also plays a really big role in this. It's great to be a traditional business and have a really strong story behind what we do. But if the market has changed, the market has moved on to something else, and if we're not keeping up with it, then we're going to be left behind, and that can really hurt our business. So evaluating workplace outcomes is a key part of any business, especially if you're looking at business success long-term versus short-term.